I didn't want to talk about the show. I didn't want to make a video about the show. I didn't want to make a review about this show unless I had something unique to say. And luckily, I do have something unique to say. Because I've been watching a lot of Hazbin videos, and no one has made the point, this major point that I'm about to make. There's going to be points in this video that people have made, but this major point, I don't think anyone has made it before. So, I hope you enjoy this. Hazbin Hotel is such a disappointment on so many levels. And the biggest issues with the show are about how these two characters are written, Charlie and Vaggie. This is how I would fix half the problems in the show. This is how I would fix the writing. This is how I would fix Charlie and Vaggie and the character choices and what they amount to. Okay, this is how I do it. I would make Charlie and Vaggie human sinners. Boom. Like that already fixes so much to me. The only reason Charlie and Vaggie are divine entities instead of human sinners in the show is so they can be treated like mindless puppets with little to no backstory that the writers can do whatever the hell they want with. Right? And at no point do I feel like what they're doing makes sense. They don't really explain why they want to redeem sinners. Why does Charlie care about the sinners? She calls them her people, but they're not actually her people. Her people are not sinners. Her people are demons. Imagine if she was a human sinner. Then they would actually be her people. Making Charlie a human sinner would force you to give her an interesting backstory, and not just, she's the daughter of Lucifer, she's the princess of hell, which is not relatable and not interesting to me. It isn't just the fact that she's a demon, right? And that's why, oh, she shouldn't care about sinners being redeemed. But also, like, she's a demon, and she also has very little connection to the human sinners, right? Like, they're just these crazy people who do crazy stuff every day. She doesn't seem to interact with them outside from people in the hotel, right? So it's like, but if she was a human sinner, that automatically gives her a connection to human sinners because she's human. Maybe she even knows some of the sinners that went to hell. Like, you can do something with that. But she's a demon. She's a demon princess. Why does she care about these people who aren't her people? Not only do they not show us her caring about them outside the hotel, but they also don't like but they also make a point to have her be disgusted by them. In Happy Day in Hell, they show how she's disgusted by these people. And they do it for laughs, but you can't just do stuff like that for laughs. You can't just have the Princess of Hell be disgusted by sinners and then expect us to understand why she wants to help them. Like, we're getting conflicting messages here. On one hand, she's disgusted by these people. On the other hand, she really wants to help them out, even though they've shown no progress ever. Like, it's weird. Like, we don't see her mindset until apparently season 2, where she comes out and says, I'm just doing this because I want to make my mom proud. I'm doing this because I want to make my mother proud. And it's like, wait, what? So it wasn't actually about the people. It was about your ego, your your shame. Like, again, I just hate the character, and the character doesn't interest me at all. So I would fix her by making her a human sinner. And this is how I would do it. This is the person that I would make Charlie. I would make Charlie someone who did terrible things in life. She was selfish, she was cruel, she was prideful, and she had a friend who was just as bad as her. She did petty, cruel things with her until one day she changed, right? She changed, but Charlie stayed the same, right? And then one day when Charlie dies, she goes to hell. Decades pass, and her friend does not join her in hell, right? So she comes to the conclusion that her friend must have redeemed herself and gone to heaven. And Charlie hopes and hopes that if she redeems herself, maybe she can join her. If redemption is possible on earth, maybe, just maybe, it's possible in hell. Right, something that bothers me is that we are never given a reason for Charlie to believe what she believes. Right, why is she so sure that she can make redemption happen? Why is she so sure that she can make redemption happen? Why, right? And I feel like maybe she isn't sure. and you should lean into that. Maybe she's just saying, you know what, I'm not sure if this can happen, but you know what, I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to try for my friend. And that makes sense to me. That's relatable to me. This princess of hell who's trying to do something that has never been done before, it's nonsensical, right? Like, why does she have such a strong conviction? Why does she believe that it can happen, right? I think you should change it and make it so she doesn't know that it can happen, but she wants to try for a friend, which immediately endears the audience to her. So she's got two motivations. One, she wants to meet her best friend in heaven. Two, she knows that the population of Earth is growing exponentially bigger. Right, like maybe Charlie was born in a time when the population of Earth was like 4 billion or like 5 billion. And she's seen the population get exponentially bigger. And she's like, oh no. And she's seeing all these people coming to hell. Right, and she's like, okay, so I want to see my friend, and to, I also want to personally stop overcrowding in hell. Right. So it isn't just this princess looking down from above and saying, "Oh no, hell is overcrowded and we gotta do something about that." No, it's someone who is experiencing the overcrowding of hell and they're like, "I want to save myself and others." Yeah, like it's 1,000 times better than what we have. So yeah, the human population has grown bigger. She is a part of that population. She's worried, she's scared, she wants things to be better, so she makes it better. Um, and she's a part of that. She's a part of the problem, but she will be the solution. And that is the story I want to see. That's the story I think everyone wants to see. And what about Vaggie? Vaggie being an Vaggie being an angel exorcist is boring. It's just super boring. I always thought she was a human sinner. I heard somewhere that her original backstory was that she was a prostitute. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna make her some asshole. Right? Maybe like she's some girl on YouTube who is prideful and vain. Like, I don't know. Anything. Anything than what Viv had in mind. She comes to hell decades after Charlie, and she does not believe in Charlie's idea. She doesn't think that people can be redeemed, but she joins her because she's making a hotel and she wants to live in the hotel, right? She wants to get away from the violence. Charlie makes a deal with Alistair the radio demon, who builds this old-timey looking hotel for her. He does it because he does it for entertainment and because he wants to stick it to his rival, Vox. Because if souls go to heaven, Vox will have less power. Right, and Alistair, he's not concerned about having the most power. He knows that the radio he knows that the radio is dead. He doesn't care about having power. He just wants to make Vox mad. Right, so he's going to take souls into heaven where he can't use them for power. Because the way overlords work is that the more people who follow you, who support you, the more power you have. Right, and there's less support for the radio demon because the radio is dead. So she makes a deal with Alistair, builds an old-timey hotel, and then starts bringing in as many people as she can to redeem. Vaggie at first doesn't believe in the dream, but she soon changes her mind. Maybe someone is actually redeemed at the end of season 1. Right, just one person who's redeemed, and then she changes her mind, and there's a transformation, and there's a big hug moment, and they get brought into heaven. I don't know. Is there going to be an extermination in this rewrite? Um, I feel like the danger of hell is enough drama, right? Just the fact that you're in hell and there's overlords that want to hurt you and use you. I think that might be enough drama for the show. Like, I don't think we need an exorcism every year in order to have this be gritty, dark, and interesting. So you don't need the exterminations. You just need to have human sinners try to redeem other sinners and themselves because they don't want to be stuck in a violent place with these terrible overlords. That's enough drama, right? That's enough evil. That's enough to worry about. Yeah, so I think that that one change with the backstories that you give them, I'm not sure what kind of backstory I would give Charlie. I would just make her like vain, prideful, like or a bully, right? And then say she never changed, but now she wants to change, right? I'm not entirely sure what that looks like, but like you just make them human sinners with a decent backstory. You drastically improve the story, and you endear us to her, and you make us say, okay, how do we get out of this hellhole? And you can still have the fight between Vox and Alistair. You can still have the turf wars. You can still have those fun fantasy battles throughout the show. But I think this one change makes the story much more adult and relatable. I would like to make a few points. Um, I would like to make 2 points about the world building. I don't really have a problem with most of Viv's ideas. Like, I like the overlords. They can stay. Like, the idea that you can accumulate power in hell and become untouchable. That's alright. One thing that I thought of not too long ago was heaven and the design of heaven, right? And how it's basically just like a shopping mall, right? Heaven is a shopping mall where you do kid stuff. So I would definitely change that. This is how I would change it. You know that Bible verse, Psalm 23? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He leads me beside still waters and makes me lie in green pastures. The way I would do it is that I would make heaven look like a grassy field with a cute little village beside it. And the village is like huge. That would have been great because it would make heaven distinct from hell. But in the show, heaven is just hell with a different color palette. Right, so it should have been a grassy field and a nice little village. So that's all I got to say about the world building, or at least all that's unique. Okay, so that's the end of that section. I think the next few points I'm going to make have been made before. I might be saying them a little bit differently. I don't know. We'll see. What I'm about to say now is basically an explanation for why Hazbin Hotel is entirely worthless as a show. So I have 3 points. Hazbin Hotel is boring, childish, and completely unthoughtful and unthought-provoking. Here's why. Because we didn't get the show that was advertised. The original premise of the show was about redeeming sinners. But the show we have is not about redeeming sinners. It's about Charlie having beef with overlords and a frat boy. Which is why I want to get rid of the whole extermination from heaven thing. Because, like, we're taking too much time away from hell. Right, we should be focusing on redeeming people. There's enough drama in hell with the overlords. We don't need exterminations. There's too much here. There's too much to worry about when we already had enough to worry about. This new premise of the show is childish because we never get to see Charlie be challenged. Right, and anyone who challenges her is a villain. And they don't even have a good argument. They're just like, well, hell is forever. Well, do you think I could be redeemed? Says Vox. Right? Like, they disagree with her, but they don't present an argument. They're just like, I don't believe in you. Right? At no point is she properly challenged by the story. And I am someone who actually does believe that anyone can be redeemed. Right? I actually believe that. Big emphasis on the word can. Because you can be redeemed, but will we make the choice to do something worth doing? Right, so I believe anyone can be redeemed, but I don't think they will, because people are that stubborn. Just because I agree with Charlie doesn't mean I don't want her to be challenged. There needs to be an argument for why this might not work. And it's never put in the show. The villains are kind of just snarling at her. Vox says darkly, do you really think I could be redeemed? And then Charlie just says, I believe anyone can be redeemed. And then nothing else. There's no argument. There's no conversation. It's embarrassing. The pilot the pilot gave us the idea that there would be a challenge, right? One of the biggest challengers was going to be Lucifer, right? Because apparently Lucifer doesn't believe in her dream. And she cries about this. What would have been great is if Lucifer in the show was like a villain with a point, right? And he actually gave her reasons for why her idea probably won't work. It would have been great if Lucifer was bad, but not the worst, right? Like he's prideful, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have any good qualities. He's just too prideful to accept that he might be wrong, right? But he has like some good qualities. They have a rocky relationship, and he challenges her on her idea. That would be interesting. And they hinted at that. They hinted that that would happen, but then in the show, he's just a goofball, and he immediately acquiesces to what she wants. He immediately sends her to heaven. Right? There's no struggle. There's no fight. Right? He's just a dad. Right? And that was annoying. So there should have been more of a challenge from her father, from Vox, from other sinners. We don't see that in the show. So, and that would make the show less childish. Not only is Charlie not questioned in this show, but they even introduce a new character called the Speaker for God to validate all of her beliefs. Right, like the Speaker of God is just a character who exists to let the audience know that yes, Charlie is right. Charlie's right, redemption is possible, you shouldn't question it. Like, and there's no problem with letting these sinners come up here. Right, yeah, and anyone who disagrees is just crazy like Loot. Right, it's like it's so frustrating. Like there's no reasonable, like we didn't make both the sides reasonable, and that is so frustrating because both the sides would be reasonable. I remember seeing a comment from someone who says, okay, what if you I remember seeing a comment from someone who said that you have to consider the feelings of the people in heaven, right? So if someone was raped by someone in hell, how would they feel when that person is redeemed? These are the questions that should be asked in an adult show. They never get brought up. And now we have the Speaker of God to validate all of Charlie's beliefs and say anyone who disagrees, they're just an idiot like Loot. Okay, so that's why it's childish. I'm going to talk about why it's boring. It's boring because the show is not about redemption. It is literally just an excuse to have these cool furry designs have fantasy battles. That's it. That seems to be the spectacle here. Like, there's several fight scenes in the show, and we're apparently supposed to care about that, despite the fact that the power scaling is not properly explained. Like, I know that Alistair is a powerful sinner, but that's it. We don't know what he can do. We don't know what he's capable of. It's just flashy animation on the screen, right? You can't just say be invested in a fight. I can't just be invested in a fight, right? I have no reason to be invested in it. I have no reason to care. There's no explanation of power scaling, so I don't know what the stakes are. You can't just put a flashy battle on the screen and expect me to care. That's boring, but also childish at the same time, right? So it's boring and it's childish that there's fights that I don't care about. And finally, the show is unthoughtful because at no point does the show talk about humanity. At no point does it explore the human condition. It seems like it was just made to have cool fantasy battles with furry designs. The closest we get to exploring the human condition is when we introduce Vox, who's a cult leader, who's able to rally the people behind him. And it's like, okay, so we got like groupthink, mind control, some kind of like, you know, leaders. We got something about charismatic leaders there. And it's like, okay, not really explored in much depth. So we're not exploring anything here. We're not exploring redemption. We're not exploring leaders and how they influence people. Not really, not much. It's like we don't go into depth on anything in the show. So it's unthoughtful. Yeah, so that's why the show was totally worthless. Right? So childish, boring, unthoughtful. We don't explore anything. We don't question Charlie. I thought this section would be a bit more interesting to talk about, but yeah, it's a pretty simple section. I hope you enjoyed the video more than you enjoyed the show, if you're a hater like me. I'm not looking forward to season 3, except to see Lilith, because I'm curious about Lilith and what her deal is. Like, Lilith is the only thing I care about now, because every other character has been ruined. I don't care about Lucifer. I don't care about Charlie. I don't care about Vaggie. I don't care about Angel Dust. He's just there to be abused. Angel Dust is just there to be abused. I don't care about Husk, because he's just, like, like, everything else has been exhausted. They haven't done anything interesting with the premise, with the characters. So, the only mystery now, the only thing that's left to care about is Lilith. I wonder what they're going to do with her. We'll see. We'll have to wait for season 3. I guess. I mean, there was another character I sort of care about. Lute. She has the song Gravity in season 2. So something has to happen in season 3. It's probably going to be underwhelming. We'll see. I don't know. It might be the biggest spectacle in the season. It might just be underwhelming. But, like, Lute and Lilith are the only characters left that there's intrigue for. So, yeah, it's totally wasted. Hazbin Hotel is a worthless show. Thanks for listening. In case you're curious, this video was based on these Reddit posts I made. I'll link the Reddit posts in the description. I don't know, in case you just want to read my original thoughts and see the difference between the video and the thoughts. I find it strange that when people critique the show, they talk about how it needed more episodes, which is weird. Like, as it's like they don't see the actual problem. Um, the show was not about redemption. The show was bad because it didn't deliver its premise. If you give it more time, it will just waste its time with stuff we don't care about, right? You can't give more time to something that's bad and make it good. This also makes me think about how. This also makes me think about why people go to the movies, right? Why do we go to the movies? Why do we watch media? We go to movies, we watch media, so that we can see something we cannot do. We don't go to the movies so we can see windows paint. We go to the movies so we can see an oil painting, a beautiful, grand oil painting. And if you think that you can do better, it's not a good movie, right? And a lot of people can do better than what we got, which is why there's all this great fan fiction that you can read. Have a nice day.